Vibe coding and AI coding are very, very different things. Realistically, I think it comes down to two main things: awareness and experience. And what I mean by this is if you want to be aware of the code that you write and what's going on and be able to nitpick into it. And experience is how well versed you are inside of coding. And I think this will be the determining factor whether you go down the vibe code route or the AI assisted coding route. Let me explain. What are the main differences? Vibe coding basically is using natural language and you're coding blind. You don't check what the code is, you just kind of accept what it tells you, slowly but surely, and after a lot of debugging, you build a product. AI assisted is more along the lines of repetitive tasks, knowing what you want to write, but want to save time by letting AI actually do it for you. And I would say there's a few main vibe code tools out there: Lovable, Bolt.new, to an extent V0, but not really. My personal favorite, just because it does give you so much control, is Replit. I like this because there's lots of debugging tools. It doesn't really hide the coding aspects from you. From the get-go, it launched the ability to edit the code, whereas these sort of abstract the code away from you a little bit. And then on the AI assisted coding aspects, you've got obviously Copilot, Cursor, Windsurf. You get the hardcore stuff like Claude Code, Codex, Jules, but these allow you to sort of manage and understand the code and make more intentional and specific changes to the code that you want to write. The other thing we can't disregard here is just going on to Claude.ai or ChatGPT and getting code examples from inside these chats and then copying it over, or doing deep thinking and deep research before implementing any sort of features. You can do this inside of Cursor with the ask mode, that extra level of planning that you do before then actually implementing the code. Why would you choose one or the other? Well, one of the biggest things here is when you don't know how to code. You're a product person, or you're an ideas person, or quite simply, you don't want to worry about the headache of infrastructure, because a lot of these tools have built-in hosting, database, authentication, whether it be through plugins like Lovable do, or actually their own systems like Replit. It's just nice to have that all-in-one package where, you don't have to worry about the individual parts about setting those up. Whereas I think AI-assisted coding is better if you know how to code, you want to scale, you want to build production-ready applications. Should have mentioned this is better for prototyping. Prototyping can get you far and it can earn you money, but there will be a point where just purely vibe coded hinder you more than help you, because the code base will be so big, the context will be so large, the organization will be just all over the place, particularly if you don't know how to code. It's just going to be a spaghetti mess of code, basically. I've worked on vibe coded projects. I've built vibe coded projects. I'm actually surprised sometimes that people who don't know how to code can vibe code certain things, because I put a lot of attention to making sure what it writes is exactly what I want it to write and how I want it to write. I'll have an idea of the architecture itself. So a lot of energy goes into that. I'm trying to maintain a sort of hybrid approach where, yes, I'm vibe coding it, because personally I think vibe coding is great for starting projects from scratch, because they're a bit better at design, they're a bit better at getting something spun up and visual, so you don't really need to think about it, but then having the ability to take it down and bring it into Cursor to then start working on the minutiae of it is often what I like to do, how I approach products. But I think there are two aspects that are sort of becoming a bit more mainstream, and I'll go over in a separate video, so subscribe for more. But it's a memory and taskmaster to bring the benefits of what I think vibe coding brings into an AI assisted workflow. This is also a nice segue for sort of vibe coders to make sure that they are building their tool from scratch and they are from the get-go adopting an AI assisted workflow, but having the product built with scalability in mind. So I hope this helps whether you're deciding whether you should approach a project with vibe coding or AI assisted coding, or you're curious about what the other route offers you and whether you should be going down that route. Like I say, I do choose vibe coding every so often using these tools like Bolt, like Replit, when I want to spin something up. However, so much of the time, because I know how to code, I do go down the AI assisted route so that I have lots of control over the architecture and the actual code decisions that go into the product. Double check that subscribe button just to make sure you are. And I thank all my Patreons for supporting the channel. And I thank you for watching until the end. And I'll see you in the next one.